Good afternoon, you winners. What's going on? This is the very first podcast of a successful frontier. I hope everyone had a great weekend, great Valentine's Day. It's the end of the week. It's time for you guys to get your goals in order, get your life in order. Whatever projects you've been working on, it's time to get them started. All you got to do is just take the first step. Now, this being the very first podcast, this what we're going to be basically focusing on is motivational speaking, positive mental attitudes, just utilizing the power of thought. Now, it's probably going to be running 45 minutes to an hour each podcast. We're only going to be trying to focus on all of that, what I just described to you. But then towards the end, there may be some additional small talk with my associate here, my partner, Sean, who is the technical guy. Not much of a conversationalist, JK. He's a good guy, though, and he knows his stuff. But, yeah. So that's basically what we're getting into, man, and I'm thankful that you guys are listening to us. This is the very first one, so you're going to have to bear with us here. This is a live show, and, we're going to get better as we go along. But just a little background on me. My name is Phil, and I am a personal trainer by trade, and basically what I do is I improve people's lives. I make them feel better. I help them move better. And, I just change people's lives, and that's how I got into this whole idea of motivational speaking, because that's what I have to do on my job. I got to motivate people, got to push people to go after their goals as far as health and fitness, weight loss, strength and conditioning, all that good stuff. So that's why I got into this. I want to try and impact as many people as possible because I'm really into motivational speaking. I listen to a lot of it myself. One of my favorite guys is Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. The guy is amazing. Look him up. He is a great speaker, and he's one of my main influences. So that's a little bit of background on me. That's how I got started here. And basically, one of the first things that helped me achieve a positive mental attitude, it's one of the things we're going to talk about today. It's just having that PMA, positive mental attitude. That can go a long way in your life. At first, when I first started out in PT as a trainer, I was able to motivate people, but I couldn't motivate myself. I always had a negative outlook on life, and it was very, very, very bad. I was always complaining about stuff, complaining about work, complaining about not having enough money, complaining about this, complaining about that, and all the stuff that I didn't have. Then, someone told me, you keep focusing on what you don't have. Why don't you focus on what you want? Focus on things that you want. You keep having this negative attitude, and all you're going to bring is more negativity into your life. Start talking about more positive stuff. Stop thinking about things that you want, things that you really, 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 truly want, and focus on that. And be happy. Just have a good outlook on life, and be outgoing with people. At first I was like, that sounds a little silly, but I gave it a try. And the first weekend I was working at a gym. I was doing front desk hours on top of personal training, and I was opening the gym by myself. First day I did that, it was like night and day. I went from just saying hi to people to actually having small talk, like, hey, how you doing today? And they would ask me, I said, I'm doing fantastic. And they would go, oh, their responses were completely different from before. I would say, I'm doing fantastic. They would be like, oh, that's great. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that, and we would have a small conversation. I remember at the end of one of my days there, before I was leaving, one of the tennis players actually tipped me $10 because I was doing such a great job for him. And I was like, wow, I can't believe this. Why haven't I been doing this before? I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're going to get tipped or get extra money just because you have a great attitude, but it does go a long way in all areas of your life. But one of the things that really helped me starting out was every morning when I get up, I actually sit there for a minute and I just express my gratitude to God and the universe. Whatever your higher power is, whatever your religion is, whether you believe in a religion or not, follow religion or not, that we're going to put that aside. I'm a very spiritual person. You may hear the God word here and there, but I'm not going to sit here and preach to you guys. But I express my gratitude to the universe every morning. I said, God, man, I am just so thankful to be alive, to have the apartment that I'm living in, the car that I'm driving, the clothes on my back. I'm thankful for my job, my clients. You start off expressing gratitude and actually being true to it, really, really being honest, and that'll go a long way. That'll make you feel good, because you're thinking about all the things that you're happy about in your life, and it puts you on the right path from the get-go. Do that as soon as you wake up. And you don't even have to sit there. I just choose to sit there in that moment, close my eyes, and just think about all the things I'm grateful for. You don't even have to do it like that, though. I mean, you can do your morning routine. Get up, brush your teeth, take a shower, and just be thinking of all those things as you start your day. It can go a very, very long way. Now, a lot of people, have questions like, well, why does having a positive mental attitude how does it affect, your daily life? How can it be so drastic? Well, one of the main things is the law of attraction. And a lot of people may have heard it. I first heard about it on the documentary called The Secret, which is very, very good, very, very informative, and it makes a lot of sense. But basically, the law of attraction is everything that's coming into your life, you attract. How by the things that you're holding in your mind, how you perceive them, that's what you're drawing into your life. Whether it's you're thinking about how, man, I really don't want to be late to work. I really don't want to be late to work. I don't want to be late. I don't want this. I don't want that. Next thing you know, what happens? You're late to work. You're stuck in traffic. You get a flat tire. There's all these things. You get stuck at every single light down that road. If you start thinking about other things, start taking that energy and devoting it to something more positive, I guarantee your life can turn around. But the law of attraction basically says like attracts like. It's all at the level of thought. And thoughts some way or another become actual things. Thought actually has a frequency. They can measure brainwaves when you have a thought. If you're constantly thinking about, and imagining what you want, you're emitting a frequency constantly. Thoughts are sending out that magnetic signal that is drawing everything back to you. But like I just said, the problem is everyone's thinking about what they don't want. And I'm not just talking about wishful thinking. It's much deeper than that. It's actually thinking about things that you want, things that you want to do, things that you want to achieve. And if you think about it, in the universe that we live in, creation is happening everywhere. Every time an individual has a thought or a prolonged way of thinking, they're in the creation process. Something is going to manifest one way or another out of these thoughts. I know a lot of you are thinking, well, that's a kind of hard to actually believe. I had trouble believing it, but then I actually started putting it into use, and I saw the benefits. One person actually talked about how they were using The Secret when they were first learning how to use the law of attraction. It was with parking spaces. and it's funny because he would say, I would just, no matter where I was going, he would talk about whether he was going to the mall or a restaurant, he would just imagine the perfect spot being there for him. And he said 95% of the time it would be there. The other 5%, he said, you just have to wait for a second longer, and then that car will pull out, and then there'll be, I call it the VIP spot. I always call it that VIP spot when I roll up. I was like, where's my VIP parking space? And every time I go to the mall, it's right there by the front door. Right there by the front door. I'm not kidding, man. It works every time. Give it a shot. And don't just say, all right, I'll give it a shot and I'll see if it works. And you just start thinking, but you don't believe it. See, that's the problem when people try and use the law of attraction, try and test it. I was like, oh, I'm going to test it out and see if it works. No. It's there. It works. The problem is you don't believe it. If you're just thinking in the back of your mind, well, you're your conscious thought is, okay, I really want this parking spot when I go to the mall. Your subconscious thought is going, this probably won't work. It's probably not going to work. Well, guess what? That subconscious thought is what ultimately is going to happen. And boom, just like that, there's no parking spot, and you're parking all the way in the back, and you're walking, and the entire time you're going, this stuff doesn't work. So I'm telling you, you actually have to believe it. I saw Sean laughing and nodding his head when I talked about the parking spaces. I mean, you can attest to that, right? Yeah. Everybody wants that parking spot, but I guarantee you, it works. But that's how we tested it. That's how that gentleman tested it. And it was with parking spaces. And it was, it was the funniest thing in the world when I finally did it and it actually worked. I said, wow, I can't believe this actually worked. This is insane. But, a lot of people are saying, well, I don't need it. It's a lot to swallow. It's hard to swallow. That's all I can say. It's hard to actually believe it because one, you kind of have to accept the fact that, everything that's in your life, you brought into your life one way or another, whether it's bad or good. A lot of people's like, well, I didn't wish for this car accident. I didn't wish to lose my job. I didn't wish for this. I didn't wish for that. Well, it's like, well, no, you didn't, but you kept thinking about how you didn't want it to happen. All the negative thoughts in your head is going to manifest one way or another. And I'm living proof of it. And I'm not going to sit here that say I'm perfect. Nobody is, but I'm constantly training. And that, like I said, I'm a personal trainer. We don't perfect ways of exercise, and we're not going to be at a level of fitness to where we're at the top. We're constantly training and getting better. So that's where I'm at right now in this positive mental attitude focus, is that I'm constantly working at it because we're humans. This is a free will universe. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to have bad days, but the beauty of it is if you're having a bad day, you could change it just like that. Put on a beautiful piece of music that you love, or put on something funny, or one of your favorite movies, or think of someone or something that you really, really like or love or want and hold on to it. I guarantee you'll start to feel better, especially when it comes to music. Music can really, really change your day, especially if you're having a bad day. And I know when I would have a bad day, or I would be having a bad day, I would hop in my car and I would blow off some steam. I would play some powerful music, no matter what it is, get it out of my system. And then once I get out of the car, I leave all that stuff in the car. I'm like, all right, done. That's out of the way. Time to turn things around, but, it's same goes with being healthy, and overall just feeling well. You can begin right now. I heard this is in The Secret. You can begin right now to feel healthy, to feel prosperous, and you can feel the love that's surrounding you, even if it's not there. And what will happen is the universe will correspond to the nature of your song. The universe will correspond to the nature of that inner feeling and manifest, because that's the way you feel. That was from a Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith. Very, very smart man. He's a visionary, very smart, very intelligent, understands The Secret very well. And that's the beauty of it, is that you can literally just start feeling, feel the love that's surrounding you, feel healthy, feel prosperous, and the universe will just start to unfold and manifest because you're truly feeling that way. And like I said, this isn't just wishful thinking. This isn't some kind of magic or imaginary force that's going on. No, this is real. This is real, folks. But on a real level right now, though, whatever it is that you got to work on, whatever it is that you want more money, you want a better relationship, you want a better job, better place to live, better way of life, just start focusing on that in a positive way. Don't say, I don't want this job anymore. Say, no, I want this job in the future, and start working at it, and I'm not, and one thing everybody needs to realize is that you can't just sit there and think about it and think about it and think about it and not do anything. There's going to be opportunities that continue to unfold in front of you, and you need to take initiative. So that's where I'm coming in and saying, whatever goals you have right now, whatever projects you're working on, I don't care what they are, no matter how crazy it may seem to some people, if it's truly what you want to do, then get up and do it. The hardest part is taking the first step, okay? You just take that first step, write that first paragraph, go to that, start that workout, whatever it is. Get started. Start something. I don't care what it is. I don't care how small it is. I don't care how small the first step is. Get started on it today, because you already wasted yesterday. Today's a new day. One thing you always got to remember is that there's always going to be somebody out there working harder than you. Someone at the same time as working hard, someone is winning. Use that as motivation. Don't sit there and go, oh, there's so many other people out there better than me. I'm a loser, blah, 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 blah. No. Get that thought out of your head, okay? So, yeah, I don't care what it is. Just get started. It's the hardest thing in the world, is just taking that first step. But once you get started, I guarantee you things are just going to unfold, and it's going to be wonderful. Chase the dream. Chase the dream, and chase it vigorously. Because you only get one life here, and you just gotta make use of it right now. So whether you're an athlete, whether you're a businessman, whether you're no matter what you're trying to do, you're trying to be a writer, even if people is like saying that I want to be a writer, but I've never really I'm not good at it. Well, it's because you've never really written before. You need to practice. You need to stumble. You need to fall in order to learn how to pick yourself back up and learn from your mistakes and get yourself perfected. Because I believe everybody, somebody I really look up to is Joey Diaz. I know it's kind of funny to think about, but he's a comedian and he worked his way up from the bottom. But he had a really good quote. He says, everyone is an artist because we all do things in our own way. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind, is that you have a very unique way of doing what you do. So make sure that it's something that you truly love to do. And that's where you got to sit down and take a personal inventory. Look at yourself and find out what it is you want to do, who it is you want to be. What do you truly want to do with your life? As long as you love it, it's not really work. That's why I love personal training. I love fitness and I love training. So I don't even really look at it as work. And I've met some wonderful people through this business. And I have a lot of great clients. So it's not even really work. It's just me helping people. And as long as you're doing what you love, it's not going to be work. You'll never work a day in your life. But like I said, I'm going to sound like a broken record. The hardest thing is getting started. That's all it is getting started. Writing that first paragraph, writing that first chapter, running that first mile, no matter what it is, you just got to get started like a champ. Muhammad Ali said it best. I mean, he said he hated training. He hated every minute of it, but his mind told him, endure now and live forever as a champion. And the rest is history, folks. Some of the greatest role models of our lifetime, they didn't get to where they are just by chance, getting lucky. They really had to make sacrifices. So many people, especially me, I'm guilty of this, are so concerned about what other people think of them, what other people are talking about, what other people are thinking about. The path to success sometimes is going to be a very lonely one. You got to cut a lot of people out. And I'm not even talking about in a negative way. I mean, I used to have I used to be that guy who would just go out every night and just drink, just drink a lot. I mean, and this show, we're going to be brutally honest with you. I used to drink a lot. And I would sit there at those nights with those friends of mine, and I would just talk about all these things I'm going to do. I got this plan. I got this plan. I want to do this. And of course, when the alcohol's running through your veins, you're more animated about it and you're more passionate about it and you're really feeling it. But what happens the next day? You wake up, you have a headache, you got 5 hours of sleep, and it's time to go back to work. And it's a job that I don't like. You know, this was back when I worked at a desk. I worked a desk job. I was a data processor. And man, did I really hate life. And, you know, basically I just never made a move. You know, I just kept repeating this cycle, paycheck to paycheck, and partying every weekend, well, almost every day practically. But it was, I just had all these ideas, but I just never took that initiative because I didn't care. I was stuck in this vicious cycle that was pretty much insanity, doing the same things over and over and over again and expecting a different result. But when I finally was able to get out of that, and it's funny, it's ironic, it's a DWI changed my life forever in a good way. And you will not hear a lot of people say that, but it was the best thing that could have happened to me, because now, you know, I realized, you know, what I was doing wrong. You know, that night changed my life forever. That's the only driving while intoxicated. You know, it's the only drinking and driving charge that I have, and it's the last one I'm going to have. And I realized at first I was really upset. I wasn't mad at the police. I was more mad at myself, because I just was looking at myself like I am such a disappointment. The saddest thing was I had just accepted a job for an armored car company that day when I got arrested. So thankfully they had already checked my driving record and I wasn't convicted yet. So I was able to work for that company for a little while. But that company, I mean, you know, armored car, that's a tough job. You work a lot. So I really wasn't digging it either. And that thought was always in the back of my mind, man, I got this court case coming up. So eventually the court case came. Long story short, I had to quit the job because I got convicted. I had to spend 3 weekends in PRC. Basically, it's it's jail, but not as bad as actual county jail. But it gave me a lot of time to think, and I realized that, you know, I got to make a change. So that's when I got into personal training, and ever since then, I've just been on this one track of living, like taking each day and then going at it as hard as I can and trying to get everything I want to do. You know, I want to write books. I want to do this podcast. I have my own personal training business. You know, I want to have my own facility. I want to do all this stuff. And now I'm actually starting to take these first steps, and you can do it too. You know, anybody can do whatever it is that they want. As long as they can believe it in their mind, they'll actually go there in the physical world. But you gotta take that first step. And hopefully it doesn't have to be one of those life-changing events like mine. I mean, it probably wasn't, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. A lot of people have had to go through, you know, drinking and driving or drug cases and stuff like that. Hopefully you don't have to, but sometimes it can be the best thing for you. If it wasn't for that charge, I'd probably still be working at that armored car company, and I would be still the negative person, and I would probably still be drinking just as much. But now things have changed, and I've been able to embrace that, and now I look back on it, and I'm not even mad about it anymore. I think about it like, man, that was the best thing that's ever happened to me, because it literally saved me from a whole lot of pain. And I'm not going to sit there and tell you, oh yeah, ever since then it's just been a cakewalk. No, it's been tough, man. I've had to work my butt off to keep where I'm at right now. But I am thankful for that night, because one, I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't get into a car accident, and you know, nothing bad happened. It was just the God in the universe had a different plan for me, and I was saved. I was saved from myself. You know, I was going to drown myself. figuratively and literally with the booze. But that was really the biggest change in my life. And sometimes that's what it takes. It takes a kick, a kick in the butt, whatever you want to call it. I had a friend of mine, very spiritual person. He said, when God is trying to get our attention, he calmly knocks on the door. If we don't answer, he knocks a little bit louder. And then finally he gets to the point where he kicks the door in. And you can kind of see where I'm going with that analogy. God kicked the door in that night when I got that DWI and was like, you need to grow up. And I did. I had to grow up. That's the problem. Like I was to backtrack a little bit what I was saying before, but everybody's so worried about what other people think of them, is that, you're trying to live up to this image because you don't want people to think a certain way about you. And then people get so caught up about that as they don't know themselves. They don't know who they are. All they know is who they're trying to be. And who they're trying to be is in that crowd of people that they're always with. A financial expert told me one time, he said, your income, well, most of everybody's income will match the 5 people closest to them. And I can attest to that because when I was in that group of people when we would drink all the time, I didn't make any. My income was just about the same as theirs, and we were all living paycheck to paycheck. And they were my closest friends, and they are my closest friends still to this day. I mean, I don't have the benefit of talking to them every day, but but they've moved on. They've got good jobs. We've all kind of gone our separate ways, so to speak. We keep in touch, every now and then, but thankfully we all got out of that. But man, when I was in that realm, I didn't make any advances. I didn't try and find better jobs. I didn't try and make more money. I was just happy with doing what I was doing. Even though I had all these big dreams and plans, I never made a move. So, but everyone is, like I was saying before, you'll have to bear with me. I get sidetracked a lot. But, everybody is so worried about upholding this image. And I was trying to uphold an image too, but I didn't even know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so really, when you make that step and you start cutting the crap out of your life, that's going to be the defining moment, because that's when you're finally going to be able to focus. Who cares what other people think? Who cares about the image you're trying to uphold? Because if you really want to be successful, if you really want to take it to the next level, you got to grow up. You got to stop going out on Thursday nights, Friday nights. If you're in college right now, if you've got a 3.0, 4.0, that's great. You know what you need to do? Study. Keep studying. You need to keep that grade. You know what? Just because you have that number or that grade doesn't mean that you don't have to study. That should mean you have to work even harder to keep it like that, to keep bettering yourself. Instead of going out and partying. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's important to have fun in life. Life is meant to be abundant. Life is meant to be prosperous. It's supposed to be beautiful. But when you're out there partying, horsing around like I was back in the day, which isn't even that long ago, it was a few years ago. It seems like back in the day because a lot has happened. But when you're out there like that, just like I said before, someone out there at the same time is working hard. Someone is studying, someone is training, someone is alone in the basement of their house with one light on, either lifting weights or studying or writing or creating something, whether it's art or music. You'll be at the bar, they'll be at the library. You'll be at the club, they'll be at home, improving themselves. That's the one thing you got to do, is learn to control yourself, learn to discipline yourself, and realize that there'll be time for that kind of stuff later, after you get to where you want to get. There'll be time for celebrations. But even after you get there, just because you get there doesn't mean you're the greatest. You got to keep going. You got to keep pushing yourself. Never, ever, ever get comfortable, because the moment you get comfortable, that's when something's going to happen and snatch it right away from you. Whatever it is that you just achieved, you'll slip, you'll start to get complacent, never settle, and never be comfortable. That's what happens to everybody. People get comfortable with where they are. They get comfortable where they are in life. So they use that as an excuse not to go after what they truly, truly want. Most people, they get a job, they earn a living, and then they pass on. They don't push themselves, they don't stretch, they don't try, they just get comfortable. And a lot of people, they decide not to work on their dreams. And, a lot of it is because of fear. They don't want to fail, or they're afraid of trying, or they don't want, it could even be something as silly as something at the gym. Like, they don't want to go to the gym because they feel they're too weak, and they don't want to be too weak, in front of people. Like, they don't want to be struggling on that treadmill or struggling with the weights or anything like that. But I can guarantee you, as a trainer myself, when I see people into the gym and they look like they're trying to get something going, they're trying to change their life, 90% of the time, I guarantee you, other people are looking at you, including me, and we're applauding you internally, saying, you know what, this person is out of shape, but they're here doing something about it, and we all support you mentally. Don't think just because some muscleheads are walking around doesn't mean that they're looking at you going, look at this fool. No, they're actually in guarantee you, in their head, they're going, good. It's good to see somebody in here trying to change their life. It's the people outside the gym that aren't doing anything about it. Those are the people we're kind of like, oh, come on, take that first step. What I can't stand is I hate the talkers. I hate the talkers, the ones that talk all this game and they never do something about it. They're saying, oh, I got this going on. I got this, and this, and this. And next thing you know, they're still doing their same old routine day in and day out. You can almost predict it, what they're going to do every day. So that's that's one of the main reasons. Fear is one of the biggest things, but fear, in my opinion, is self-created. It's self-imposed. You create your own fear, but you can control it. I believe fear exists. It's an emotion, but it's always constant in everything we do. But accepting your fear, this is a quote from 300. Fear is always constant, but accepting it makes you stronger. And that's the most important thing you need to be able to understand. A man who says he's not afraid of anything is a fool. A man who says he's afraid but can control it and accept it, that is a true hero, a true warrior, a true strength right there. Is being able to admit when you're afraid, but go on anyway. I'll admit, or back when I was in high school, a lot of the times I didn't want to, try out for the football team when I was younger, was because I was afraid. I was afraid of not being strong enough, not being fast enough. I was afraid of the other athlete, the other people on the team trying to, talk smack, trying to talk shit to me. That's what I was afraid of. I was afraid of failing in front of them and having to live with that, and then having to walk around the halls and see those guys on a daily basis. That's why I never tried. I eventually did my junior year, but it was a little too late, but that hasn't stopped me. One of my other dreams is to play football. I train every day and I play, football on a regular basis in leagues. And I've had several people tell me that I should try out for at least arena. And there's not a moment that goes by where I don't think that I can do it. It takes a lot for me to actually believe that. But that's, like I told you, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm this almighty guru who has all the knowledge in the world. I just know, I know in myself what I need to do to motivate myself, and I want to try and help people do the same thing. So regardless of what you're trying to do in your life, like I said today, start off in the morning being grateful for all the things that you got. Just think about it. Every time you get up, try it every day this week. I dare you. For the next week, for till next Sunday. Get up every morning and in your head mentally just go over all the things that you're thankful for and really mean it. Really feel it. Don't just sit there. Don't let it be a chore. Let it be something that you're really, really, truly grateful for. Even if it's just one thing. I don't care what it is. And take that first step. Whatever it is. Trying to write a book. Trying to, trying to lose weight. Trying to get healthy. Whatever it is. Take the first step. I don't care what it is. Even if it's just buying a book. A book about exercise or diet or how to write or how to paint or whatever. Take the first step. That's the most important thing. And I've been kind of rambling on and on and on here for about 35 minutes, but it is a beautiful day to be alive. As my idol, one of my idols, Joey Diaz, would say, it's a beautiful day to be alive. Get up. It's Sunday. I don't care if you were stuck in the winter, winter storms. I mean, we're here in Virginia, and we got pummeled with snow, but it is still a beautiful day. Every single day is a beautiful day. You make it beautiful. You decide to make it a great day. You decide to make it a beautiful day. I don't care if it's cloudy, thunderstorms. It's still a beautiful day because I am having a great day. That's why. Don't let something as silly as the weather get you down. Oh, man, it's raining outside. Who cares? Who cares, man? The earth needs to take a bath. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch gears real quick. One of the other things I'm very passionate about is video games. Yep. Like I told you, there's going to be segments. I can only go on for so long because, like I said, it's the first episode. I don't want to overburden everybody, but just to change gears and make this podcast a little more versatile, we're going to have different topics, and eventually in the future, hopefully have some guests on here, some guest speakers. I know some very, very good leaders, and trainers, a lot of great people that, that I constantly learn from, and hopefully we'll have them on the podcast sometime in the near future. But just to make things a little bit more interesting, we're going to switch gears real quick. And, we'll just, from here on out, it's going to be a little bit more freestyled, a little less structured. But we're going to go ahead and switch gears. We're going to get my associate here a little bit more involved. I know you've been hearing me talk. It feels like it's a one-man podcast here, but it's not. There is a sound engineer, recorder, producer, gentleman. His name is Sean, and he is the genius behind you being able to hear me right now. So without further ado, say hi, Sean.
Hi.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Right. No, well, anyway, as I'm looking around the beautiful recording studio that we have here, which is a room, I see over there that this guy has the Xbox One, and let's go ahead and dig into that a little bit. I guess the very first. When did you get it?
Around the end of December.
End of December. Okay. Is your mic on?
I think so. Barely.
Yes. Barely. Is there a way you can turn yourself up just a little bit?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to remember to do that from here on out.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that's a little bit better. Well, anyway, so yeah, you got it around the end of December, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And how many games do you have for it? Okay, well, how about the
5?
5, okay. Which ones have you played so far? I know you were playing Ghosts for a while.
Yeah, the main... I've gone through Battlefield.
Oh, right, that's right. Yeah, Battlefield was the other one. Yeah, I played Ghosts. I haven't gotten a chance to play Battlefield. I know you and I, we talked about Ghosts, and we talked a little bit about Battlefield. Do you have the online? Actually, no, wait. Xbox One, you have to have online to play, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. How is the online for Battlefield 4?
It's pretty good. It's a little harder because there's not so much of... The benefit is there aren't as many younger kids,
Yeah.
they mainly stick to Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there are some guys that I've gone up against that I cannot compete with.
Mm-hmm.
One person in particular, I cannot remember his name, through an entire game had a 31-2 kill death.
Gosh. Oh, Battlefield, that's pretty
Yeah.
impressive. For those of you who have not played Battlefield, that is very, very impressive. Because it's fairly easy to get your ass killed in Battlefield. But yeah. On Call of Duty, of course, it's just as easy, but it's also pretty easy to have a very, very substantial kill-death ratio.
Yep.
So, but outside of the games, how does like the actual Xbox One itself, like the interface and all that stuff, like how is that?
It's functioning, but there's a lot of things that they did differently with the 360.
Right.
And they are working on updates. There was an update they put out this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And so they keep continuing.
Mm-hmm.
They continue to update.
Yeah, this system.
It's
Yeah,
nowhere, like,
it's like every week there's something new happening.
there's something new and there's something wrong.
Yeah, well, that's Microsoft for you.
Yeah, and then if Sony does something to their system,
Then
Microsoft has to do twice as much.
Try to do twice as much there. Yeah, I played the Ghosts on the PS4, and I was pretty impressed with that. The PS4 is really neat. I have not had a chance to play the Xbox One at all, so so that's why I'm asking all these questions. I have no idea how it works, but I'm pretty knowledgeable on the PS4. But I'm sure since the first week it came out, I'm sure it's changed drastically since I've last touched one. Because I myself do not own one yet. I will soon, but that's going back to the fundamentals of this podcast. Video games are best saved for last. After, for me, it's like I got to get all my work done and possibly enjoy video games somewhere on the bottom of my list. But like I said, it's important to have fun in life, but balance. That's what everybody needs. So, like, have you played the PS4 at all?
I haven't, but I know people who have.
Oh, okay. What's your? I mean, I guess it's hard to. Let's see. We have two opposites here. We have someone who's never played the Xbox, and then we have someone who's never played the PS4. So it's hard to compare and contrast here and discern which one we like better. But I know you're very knowledgeable on game systems and video games anyway.
Yes.
So, like, if you had to make a unbiased selection because of what you have, like, do you think the PS4 is a better buy, or do you think the Xbox One would be a better buy? I know there's like $100 difference between the two, but
I would say Xbox One because they have more exclusive A-list titles.
Mm-hmm.
PS4 has some,
right?
But for the next year, I think they have maybe 4 or 5 that I've seen so far.
Yeah,
and Microsoft has about 11.
Oh wow!
So there's a big difference between the two, but
isn't that Titanfall game?
Titanfall comes out in March.
That's for the Xbox, correct?
Yes.
And
Strictly.
same with what is it? The one by Bungie that everyone's Destiny. That's right. I don't know why I could not think of that, but that's an interesting game in itself, Destiny. I've watched several videos about it. I still can't wrap my head around it. I don't know really what is going on.
That's kind of where I sit because the only thing I've seen Bungie really do is the Halo games.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm also interested is I want to see what else they can do outside of Halo.
Yeah. Yeah, because like out of the videos I saw from Destiny, it looks like, and also from what I've read, I mean, it looks like it's going to be one of those level, like you have your own specific character. Is that like, and you choose like what class you're going to be or something like that.
That's what it looks like.
I don't know. It's I haven't read about it in a while, but when I first did, that's what I got out of it, and it seems like it reminds me a little bit. I mean, I don't know about the gameplay and weapon selection, but it reminds me a little bit of Mass Effect as far as your character development and what you do. So that's what Destiny reminds me of. But I don't know. It looks like an interesting game. Titanfall. Now that one I've only seen pictures for, so I don't know what that game's all about. Maybe you can enlighten me a little bit.
I'm not even. I want to say it's a futuristic first-person shooter, but I don't want to put too much gravity on how I'm describing it,
Right?
because I haven't even played the beta yet. So,
gotcha. The last thing we want to do is like, it's this first-person shooter. Next thing we get a bunch of comments on our pod. Hey, no first-person shooter.
Exactly. I mean, I just see first-person shooter and giant robots, so
yeah,
I'm sold on that alone.
The first thing I thought of when I first saw Titanfall was like, this reminds me of Mech Warrior,
Yes,
like back in the day, Mech Warrior, or what was that other one? They had another. They had this other game. It was for PlayStation. And they came out with a newer one on PS2 where you it's like Mech Warrior, but it's more to the style of for me it was like a combination of Mech Warrior and Gundam Wing, and you had like these giant robots and like you upgraded their arsenals. The first game was on PlayStation, but they had a sequel that everybody was anticipating on PS2. And I can't remember the name for the life of me, and I bet there are people listening going, what the hell is this guy talking about?
Exactly.
But then when you hear the name, you'll be like, oh, yeah, I know what that is. I can't think of the name for the life of me, but and I remember the Mech Warrior game they had for Xbox that was really popular. And it was like... I forget, but I remember playing through that game, and I remember getting to the end, and it was like you had this. The most annoying thing about it is like once you got to the end and you got like this super mech that was like really big and tall and it was red, but it moved so slow, and oh god, that movie wow, that game is interesting,
Yeah.
but speaking of Mech Warrior, I don't know why I just started. I said movie, and then I immediately thought of Pacific Rim.
Exactly. I was just about to say that.
What did you think of that movie?
I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was amazing. Everyone I've spoken to was like, "It's okay."
I thought it was incredible.
All I see is robots fighting aliens, and I'm sold.
Right?
And everyone's like, "It was okay." I'm like, yeah, but it's robots fighting aliens.
Yeah. I was like, when I saw the movie, I was like, holy crap! I was like, this movie is insane, and I didn't understand why nobody else was was talking it up. I was like, this is one of the coolest movies I've ever seen. I don't care how vanilla the plot is, you know. Yeah. This is one of the best visual movies I've ever seen. Like the ending of the whole damn thing, where they found the portal and they dropped the mech down there, and and they had that whole explosion go off underwater. I mean, that was incredible. It was incredible. And they had all the different levels of the kaijus or whatever they're called. And then they went down into their world and they had a huge meltdown, a nuclear explosion. I mean, that was awesome. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. It's kind of like how they did Avatar.
Right.
I kind of felt the same way. I've heard that plot before.
Right.
I've seen the story before, but to me, what was amazing was the environments they created.
Yeah.
And how they ran the plot and how they what the plot consisted of.
Yeah.
Was new.
You know, I heard, and James Cameron is a brilliant director, and you know he's he has just got such a unique way of doing things. But I heard when they re-released it in theaters with additional footage, and the additional footage was like, they had like over an hour of additional footage, and I was like, good Lord, how much more did this guy have?
And it's all dialogue.
It's like, yeah, it's insane. I still haven't seen the additional footage. I gotta find the DVD that has it all on there, because I mean, and the fact that he's doing more, he's working on that sequel, and apparently what it's going to revolve around is all the ocean life of that planet, like everything,
Yes.
like the colonies along the ocean and stuff. And I was like, that is going to be out of this world, because he was describing, I remember in an interview he was describing, it's like we brought you, it's kind of like Earth. He's all like, in a sense, it's like we basically brought you onto the land and showed you everything in the jungle. Beneath the ocean is an entirely new world.
Yeah.
And it's just like here on Earth. You got everything up here, but under the ocean, I mean, it's a completely different world down there. So I can only imagine the stuff he's going to have when, in that sequel, when you go underwater in Pandora. I mean, that's just crazy. But going back to games I see down here on the ground, GTA 5. This was an experience. I played through majority of the game, and I'll tell you what, some of those heists were pretty ridiculous.
Yes.
And then you got this gentleman here. What's his name? The crazy guy. Trevor. He reminded me of like a cross of Devin Townsend and like Rick from Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
It's like, and I love how every time you switch to his character after you've beat the game, he's waking up drunk somewhere.
Yeah.
Like he's like at the beach or in the desert or on the side of the road or something, and he's all strung out.
I've noticed every Grand Theft Auto game, they always make one character.
Mm-hmm.
In the past games, he hasn't been a playable character.
Yeah.
But they make a character that you kind of become friends with.
Mm-hmm.
But they're completely out of their mind.
Yep.
And he did a really good job.
Like in GTA 4 with Brucey.
Yeah.
I was just about to say Brucey.
Yeah.
That guy is
but
so
he was
funny.
my favorite character in that
Brucey
game.
was
because
hilarious.
He was in every... I mean, the dialogue that they gave him through the game...
priceless.
Just his behavior and the cutscenes.
so
it was
great.
entertaining from start to finish. That's exactly what it is.
Did you ever read the like go to the cafe and read the emails?
Yes.
And then and then you would like have like those you would send a positive response, and I remember one of them was like he sent him this email, and I hit positive response, and he just said, "Lay off the juice, Brucey."
Yeah. Seriously.
It was so funny.
I mean, that's kind of the thing that goes along with Jersey Shore. Is there are people in the world that really act like that.
Yeah.
And I know them.
Yeah.
But
What's so funny about Jersey Shore, and it really reminds me of it's actually it was a video I saw online. It was the situation at the weight room, and he picked up, well, he didn't pick them, he had somebody hand it to him, but they were like 120 130 pound dumbbells, and he was like on the incline, and as a trainer I sit here and I laugh at it, but at the same time it's not all right, let me tell the story first. He gets handed these dumbbells, and he goes on the incline, and he has his arms all the way stretched out with these dumbbells, and I'm going to try and describe it as best as possible to you folks. He brings them down maybe a quarter of the way, not even half, and then starts going back up and down, up and down, up and down. And he's like doing these, like he's just repping it. And I'm sitting here, I'm just like, he's not even breaking 90 degrees with his elbows. And I'm just like, what is he doing? But then at the same time, I'm looking at it, I was like, well, he is moving it. So that is some there is something going on here. He is moving the weight, so that does make sense. But at the same time, it's not really a full rep. And what's even funnier is the comment section.
Oh, yes.
It was one person left a comment and said, and not a single rep was done that day. But then there was somebody else who said, regardless if he's bringing the weight all the way down or not, he is moving the weight, so that is respectable in some sense. But
yeah,
he's like admitted the form is horrible, but he is moving the weight. Yeah, but you get those Jersey Shore guys, all they bicep curls, and that's all they want is biceps. Work on my arms, arm day. That's all I'm gonna do is arms. I'm gonna force these bad boys to grow. When in reality, the bicep is the most useless muscle in the entire body.
Yes.
The way that it's designed, I mean, you really don't use it that much.
No.
It just and it being so useless, it's actually the most stubborn to grow, which is even funnier because you literally have to overwork it to make it large, to make a 22-inch gun.
Yeah.
There's this guy online. He has a YouTube channel, I think. I forget his name, but he has these 22-inch arms, and he doesn't believe in overtraining. For an entire year, 360 days, this guy, or 365 days. Yeah. I was trying to think if he actually did it for a year, if it was like 10 months or something like that. But he was like 365 in the gym working his arms. That's it.
Wow.
Like he said, I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe he didn't go in on the weekends or something like that or something. I don't know. But he was in there all the time. And every time he was in the gym, he was doing biceps. He was either doing preacher curls, straight bar curls, and this guy is so intense. He's all like, yeah, I don't believe in overtraining. For an entire year, I was in here working my arms, demanding these bad boys to grow. That's how I got these 22-inch arms. And then it showed a video of him doing a one-arm with a dumbbell on the preacher curl, bringing it down. He's going, yeah, I demand you grow. I command you to grow. You ain't done yet. I ain't. And he's got like a 50-pound dumbbell or a 40-pound dumbbell. And I mean, granted, this guy is moving some serious weight.
Yeah.
But he is just, he's literally yelling at his own bicep. It's so funny.
That's dedication.
Yeah. And what's even funnier is that he's got these youngins working with him. And he's like forcing these young guns to like lift this outrageous amount of weight. And it's so funny. It's so funny. Like, but this guy, he threw a 45 on each side on a straight bar and was curling it. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Both. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that's strong.
Yeah.
That is very strong. Those are very strong biceps. But like I said, it took an entire year of him training arms every single day. So I was like, I just don't care enough about that.
Yeah.
But it was funny to watch.
I mean, really, the best thing from getting to point A to point B is consistency.
Yeah. That's one thing we can give this gentleman.
Yeah.
He was very consistent about what he wanted.
Sounds like it.
There's this other video I saw of this guy. It was I think it was a Russian. It was either a Russian or some. No, I'm pretty sure it was this Russian guy. This Russian guy was working with this dude on a chest hammer strength chest press, and he was doing these reps. And I think it was like a certain amount of reps or a time. I don't remember. But he's sitting there and he's like pumping these chest press, and it's a good amount. It's a fair amount of weight. He's doing a lot of reps, and he's starting to get tired, and he's like, and the guy is standing like right in front of him. and he's like trying to crank out these last remaining reps, and the dude is slapping him in the face. He's like yelling. He's literally yelling at this guy. He's like, "Oh, come on, is that all you can do?" Slaps him in the face. Come on. He must have slapped him like 7 times, like just not in a row, but periodically, like a couple seconds. Then he did it twice. He went just slapping this dude on the left side of his face constantly while he's working out. There are some funny people out there.
Yeah, Russians are pretty intense.
Yeah, they are intense, and but the funny thing is that you see some funny stuff when you go to the gym, and I'm not going to put down anybody who's working out or anything like that, but you see some funny stuff sometimes when you go to the gym. Like you see some things that you never thought were possible. Like you question, like, why? Me as a trainer, I can't help but notice the silly stuff. I just call it the silly things that people do. Like, I can't even really think of anything, but I mean, off the top of my head, but here's one, like the kettlebell swing, when people are like bending their back and then trying to use all of their arms to lift the kettlebell on the kettlebell swing, when you are clearly supposed to use your legs and your hips. It's like actually more of a hip function than anything else. And you see these guys with like 50-pound kettlebells, and they're like throwing it up way over their head, and it's just like, no, like it's so funny. And just see some of the silliest stuff. And I remember one time there was this girl while I was at the gym. She walked by and she had all this perfume on. And I'm just like, why? She was like in the middle of her workout, and she had like her nails done and all that stuff, and she was on her phone with her headphones, and dude, she smelled like a bundle of flowers when she walked by. It was just like, I was like, yeah. Flowers and fruit. That's what I smelled. And I was like, what? And I was like, what is the point of that? That's like me spraying a bunch of Axe on my body before I go and work out. It's like, or taking a shower shaving and putting aftershave on and putting cologne and deodorant and spraying myself with body spray and then going and working out for an hour. It's like, why? Yeah. Funny shit, man. Funny stuff. But, anyway, we're going to wrap this up. We've been on here for about an hour, and I really want to thank everyone for sticking with us for this whole hour. And this podcast is going to remain free. We are in the process of setting up a donation page where we will gladly accept donations of any amount, whatever it is that you feel like contributing to help us continue to do this on a regular basis. And, of course, the proceeds will go to either better equipment, better recording equipment, maybe bring us the possibility of doing video casts, bring video casts to everybody. We can get a better recording equipment, so we can get some of the guests that we have, that I have lined up to come on here. So, yeah, we will definitely be bringing that around probably on the next episode. We'll be posting it up on the posting the link to that page in the future onto the information page to whatever websites that we post our podcast available for download. We'll also be putting it on YouTube, and the link will also be in the description page or description area, and also any comments or suggestions, we'll definitely be looking out for them. And if you want to send us any emails, with questions or stuff you want answered, stuff you want us to talk about, or anything at all, we'll be bringing all that contact information to you guys as soon as possible. We'll try and get it all out there on the next episode. So thank you very much. Once again, this has been a first groundbreaking episode of A Successful Frontier. Thank you very much for listening, and we will see all of you winners next weekend. Have a great day.